Yo. Look who's here.
Shit.
After a year break between games, Need for Speed returns with heat, a new story location and a new reason to race around the streets and get into the league, the pinnacle of racing in this year's title. But is this year's game an improvement from the last few releases? In short, yes. Gone are the microtransactions and loot boxes that plagued 2017's release, Payback, something that drew huge criticism. Instead, you can unlock everything from car upgrades to new cars by purely reaching new rep levels. Story-wise, the game is good, not great, but a step in the right direction. It's not the longest game, in reality it's actually a fairly short campaign. While it's up to you how many races you do throughout your playtime, the main story races unlock at certain levels, which do force you to go and do other races in between, and they aren't exactly hard. Some of the side missions, or side races I guess you can call them, are more challenging. There is no shortage of events and races to take part in. However, when it comes to the characters in the game, what we get is very limited, from the police to the racers. You don't really come across too many people in the game where you're racing an entire city. And like the crew, it kind of falls into that same sort of ghost town sort of situation where if you're driving around the map, there's not a lot of cars, there's not a lot of vehicles around, and there aren't any people. I mean, obviously you don't want people walking around when you're smashing into things, but you still want a lived-in feel to the city, a bit like what you get with GTA. But with Need for Speed, you don't really get that, and it's a little bit strange when you get certain cutscenes where you see people walking around the streets, but then when you go back to your car, there is an empty city. Car customization is more simple this time round, but isn't restricted by previous loot boxes. If you have the cash, you can buy it. Same can be said for character customizing. There is a ton of different clothing options to be chosen for whatever your style is. Gameplay in Need for Speed is split into two sections, day and night. Daytime is where you're making your money, with races being sanctioned, so police leave you alone unless you deliberately go and crash into them. Meanwhile, nighttime is where majority of the story races will take place, and there is definitely a more intense feel when it comes to the night part of the game. Police chases are crazy, and if you're not ready to take on high heat level races or the police at that level, be prepared to lose the progress that you've just made, and it isn't very forgiving in that regard. Visually, Need for Speed is a good looking game, the cars look good, the environment is polished, but if we're comparing it to other games like Forza Horizon, it's not quite at that level, but it still looks nice enough. So if you're wondering if it's worth going and buying, my answer is yes. There's a lot of fun to be had with Need for Speed Heat, more fun than what the series has been of late. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and a like would also be greatly appreciated. I have some new things coming a little bit later on, some Man of Medan episodes. I'm going to try and do those in more of an episodic sort of style like on TV. Plus, we'll also be taking a look at Destiny 2 Shadowkeep post-launch and where that could be going. But for now, that is where I'm going to leave it. For all things gaming, remember to keep an eye out for new videos. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next time.